Hello, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network. I'm Rick Anthony. Owning and operating a restaurant is a very, very tough way to make a living. Thin profit margins, long hours, and dealing with a fickle public whose taste buds can change almost overnight. So when the Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar opened in Wayne at, 372 West Lancaster Avenue in Wayne, I want to know why the owners had decided to bring this new offering to Tony, Philadelphia suburb that already has a number of very fine restaurants. Offering, in this particular case, the Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar offers a modern Mediterranean, that is Mod Med, menu, as well as a long list of wine offerings, complimentary wine offerings, in addition to a varied selection of foods that include appetizers, pastas, chicken, fish, everything else you might imagine, but again, in ways that are not new to this area because of the way they're prepared and presented. Carmel Cafe has introduced not only this varied menu, but electronic interactive device called the menu pad that can be used by guests to look at photos of anything they might see on the menu, and also play around with the various wine choices that might complement the meal. Another feature of the menu pad is being able to decide when you want the courses that you've ordered to be delivered so that they don't interrupt the social aspect of having lunch or dinner together. With me today to explain all of that is the operating partner of Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar in Wayne, Doff Fleshman. Doff, nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
I stopped in, as you know, this is where I met you, and first I was a little puzzled by the menu. Interesting menu, and I was also puzzled by and a little bit challenged by, because I'm a technological idiot, by the menu pad, but it's an intriguing idea. But as we always do, let's start with who you are, where you came from, and how you have built your career in restaurant management.
Okay. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. area. I grew up in the Maryland suburbs. I went to the University of Maryland and got a degree in business. When I graduated, my parents gave me the tie and suspenders and said, it's time for the financial industry.
Yes.
And I wanted no parts of it. I loved hospitality. I loved restaurants. I really got a certain energy and satisfaction from being around it. So that's the path I took. I have been working with some gentlemen. They were a private company. They had several successful restaurants. I started off as a dishwasher at age 14, and I was managing throughout college, and I stuck with them. I got to a point where I realized that they were going to make money and I wasn't, that it was time for me to maybe look at something else. And I went into a more corporate environment. And I went and joined Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurants. And I was with them for about 7 years, and I worked from entry level up to a district manager. And I was literally on my way to Chicago to manage 7 restaurants. And I got a phone call on the way out there with an offer to help start Outback Steakhouse in New York.
Start.
I helped open the first one, and I was the operating partner of the second location in New York.
When was that?
That was 1990. We opened up in 95. The first location I opened up in January of 96.
Boy, has Outback been around that long?
1988.
I didn't realize that. And how many locations do they have now around the country?
Oh, well over 1,000.
Is that right? Now, is that a franchise?
It's currently it's owned by Bain Capital.
Okay, all right.
It's Blooming Brands is this.
Okay, I'm sorry, I
That's
took you
okay.
off course. So you helped to launch Outback
I helped in that market.
in that market.
Correct.
Then what happened?
I was there for 10 years, and it was a fantastic experience. But throughout my Chi-Chi travels, I lived in Allentown, and that's where I met my wife, and we wanted to get back to Pennsylvania. My family's still in Maryland, but our daughter was growing up away from family. And the way that particular deal worked, you did 5-year contracts. And at the end of that contract, my second contract, I chose to come back down here.
So how did you hook up with the owners of Carmel Cafe?
When they decided to bring this concept to Pennsylvania,
Yes.
They looked into their past and tried to identify some people that shared the same type of values they had. And they contacted my partner, John Ross, who's the market partner in this area. And he had worked with the president and CEO, Terry Ryan, who, when I was with Chi-Chi's, was the president of the company. And he had worked with him, and John looked into some people he may have known. And I crossed paths with John several times throughout the years through Chi-Chi's. And he was also with the OSI brand. So.
Okay, let's step back a little bit. So what is Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar? What distinguishes it from other restaurants, bistros, however you want to describe it? And tell us a bit more about Terry Ryan and Chris Sullivan, the collaborators who created it.
Okay. Carmel Cafe, it's unique. It's not, the menu is very unique. The modern Mediterranean, it's modern interpretations of Mediterranean dishes. So it's not necessarily everything traditional, but you're getting different flavors, different layers of flavors. Our menu that we have today, there's also a portfolio of many, many dishes we've done over the years. The company's been around for 3 years. So as we spoke before about maybe a traditional Lebanese dish, there may be some in that portfolio, and they kind of cycle in and out. But we offer our food in both large and small plates. So you can get some very affordable, smaller portions for people who don't have large appetites, maybe $10.99, $11.99, and you can also get the larger portion. So the food is very, very affordable. We pair this with some outstanding Old World and New World wine choices. It's a very affordable experience and a very nice atmosphere. And of course, we blend the technology, and that's kind of what makes us a little bit different.
How would you describe I don't know, the motif, the ambiance that you've created at 372 West Lancaster Avenue?
We call that Carmel Casual. And
Carmel Casual.
picture
California.
Carmel, California. You're at a cocktail party, and it's not necessarily very upscale, but it's comfortable, and having a glass of wine, socializing with some people, having some great food, and in a great environment. And that's kind of what the motif is. There's some artwork. It's just a nice motif.
Is the artwork local?
Our architect actually does all the artwork.
Now, you're operating partner.
Correct.
In this location.
Yes.
So what's the business model that Terry Ryan and Chris Sullivan created so that you have a stake in it, and as other restaurants are opened in different parts of the state and around the country, each of them will have someone like you.
Correct.
Who has a stake in that location. So it's not a chain, although it's been described as a mini chain. Now you have 6 restaurants, 7th on the board, right, for Pennsylvania?
Correct.
Where will that be?
Warrington.
Warrington. And you had also mentioned Allentown, possibly someplace in the Lehigh Valley?
Correct.
Okay. How does a company like yours go about deciding on a location? I guess you work with people who are expert in sizing up a market and doing the research and then coming back to you and say, that's good, that's bad?
You look at demographics, and with any concept, you're going to take a look at your brand and what your target audience is. And you're going to do demographic studies to find out where you fit.
Right.
Of course, there's a real estate piece that you have to make sure that you're in a lease where you can be profitable, so you can sustain your business, and you kind of go accordingly.
But why the leap from 5 locations in Florida, all of which I assume are doing well, to Pennsylvania?
It was about people. And it's about having the folks that share the same values as I mentioned before. My partner John is an outstanding individual, and he was someone that they felt confident would understand the brand, interpret the brand, and kind of grow it with the same passion.
I've introduced you as operating partner, AKA entrepreneur. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
How would you describe an entrepreneur?
I would describe an entrepreneur as someone who their actions, their daily decision making has to do with growing the business, growing the concept.
Right.
Certainly profits at the end, but it's having a passion for what you're doing, understanding people, listening to people, and being able to give them and deliver what they're looking for.
Well, that sounds like a good business. But what is there about who you are, what you do, that legitimately qualifies you as an entrepreneur? That is a risk taker.
Well, you certainly, anytime you take a position with any company, you're making an investment in them as well as they're making in you. And to make money, you have to make a profit. And this is a brand new market. This is a brand that people don't recognize yet. They're not quite sure exactly who we are yet.
Right.
We're working hard to teach that. But the entrepreneur piece is the piece that puts me here today with you. That will put me with the Chamber of Commerce and to get involved in community. That will help us get involved in charity organizations to be part of the community. And that's that entrepreneur piece that we believe is going to make us successful.
Can you share with us what there was in the report that you and John Ross, is that his name? John Ross received that led you to believe that Wayne, the main line, would be a good market, even though there are so many restaurants up and down Lancaster Avenue. North Wayne Avenue. And Wayne has become a mecca for good eating and socializing for young people as well as older folk. It sounds like a crowded market.
My partner John did that work. That was before I joined the group. He spent months and months analyzing the markets with his brokers, etc. But it is a hotbed for great restaurants.
Yes.
And the people here are knowledgeable about food and wine, and it seemed like a natural fit for what we were trying to do. We weren't, every group in this town has their niche. We're not looking to carve out a piece of their niche. We're looking to develop our own concept here.
Okay, so what is the marketing strategy? What has it been since you opened?
Well, first it's to get open and get operationally sound.
All right.
And then
Are you beyond that now?
Oh, absolutely.
All the bugs have been worked out?
Yes, absolutely. And then the next part of the strategy is to get our name out there and allow people to know who we are. And there's a lot of different strategies. Certainly social media is a part of it.
Yes.
There might be some print. There'll be some print drops. But from my past, we found the most effective way to get involved and to grow is to be part of the community. And you'll see a lot of community outreach.
A good restaurant has to have an exceptional kitchen.
Yes.
What is there that's exceptional about your kitchen?
Jessica Bush, she is our chef, and she is local, and she has a lot of passion for what she does. She has worked under Chef Marcy in Philadelphia. She was with Bindi, Swanky Bubbles. She also owned and operated her own location in Delaware of a company called Aqua Soul, and she takes care of people. She has a lot of passion for quality. Our kitchen, our footprint isn't huge, and a lot of it's centered around a lot of front-end prep. We have 160 different recipes. It's all scratch cooking. A lot of these ingredients are coming from Europe and the Middle East. So she works very, very hard to make sure we have the products that we need on hand, and to make sure people understand how to execute these recipes.
How many can you seat?
153.
I'm trying to remember the configuration of, so you walk in, is there a bar?
You walk in and you have our community seating.
Okay.
There's 4 tables there that could seat
Yes.
6 to 8 people at those tables, and then you have your bar. And then to your left is the restaurant. So there is a little bit of a division there.
Yes.
So you're not necessarily walking into a wine bar, crazy atmosphere. There is a dining room that is.
The name and the fact that you're, well, I guess the name, there is some incongruity there. The name would suggest a young crowd.
Correct.
And a sophisticated crowd, Carmel, California. On the other hand, you've been in Florida,
Correct.
which seems to be the antithesis of that. Certainly not a lack of sophistication, but younger, older. And here we are here in the main line. What are you appealing to? Which demographic are you appealing to, at least in terms of age?
Our demographic, number one, is we're about 60% women, female. And I'm seeing a demographic of mid to late 30s. I'm seeing folks that are in their 70s and 80s coming in and enjoying it. The large and small portions, the 3, 6, and 9 ounce pours of wine.
Yes.
There's just a lot of things there that appeal to different
Yes.
groups.
That's what struck me, the fact that the large and small plates, which I've seen in other restaurants as well. But it really is both an acknowledgement of and an accommodation to the people who don't want a mountain of food. I can't eat that much anymore, and I don't want to have to pay for
We
that
shouldn't
much.
be eating that much.
Right, that's right. And in terms of wine, yes, I don't like paying $11 for a glass of wine. So you've been able, I guess, as a result of experience and research, to tailor your offerings to what you believe your market wants, and will keep them coming back. Have you, again, you've only been open a relatively short period of time, do you see a lot of return
Yes.
customers? And I think I read on the website that the menu changes kind of with the seasons, and I guess that depends on what's available from the garden.
Correct.
Here we are sitting in the winter. What's special? Do you have squash? The squash soup, what do you call that?
Butternut squash
Oh,
soup.
I love butternut squash.
It's delicious.
I think I did. I had that. Yes, butternut squash. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Can you tell us more about the origin of Carmel? John Ryan, Terry, close. Terry Ryan, who had been successful as an entrepreneurial restaurateur. Chris Sullivan, who had been very successful as the founder of Outback, and therefore a restaurant entrepreneur. How did they come together, and what did they decide they wanted to do that would be different from everybody else?
They came together. Terry was the CEO of a group called the Ocean Air Seafood Room, and it was a very nice concept. They were bought out, and they didn't need two CEOs, so he moved on. About that time, Chris was looking to start a new concept. He definitely wanted to do something with wine, but he didn't want wine to be stuffy. He wanted to be more social, something where people can enjoy a glass in a community setting, kind of mingle, but more of a neighborhood type of thing. Not necessarily upscale stuffy, but something nice. Healthy food, the right portions.
Yeah.
And he also had the idea that technology was coming, and he really felt he wanted to find a way to kind of infuse all of that together. He spoke with Terry, who happened to be available, and they talked about the concept. As with any company, there's legends. You kind of hear the different stories of how things go. But from what I understand, they started talking in the summer, and they had their first location open in November. And it kind of went right down to the wire without a name. And a lot of the different things they tried were taken, they're trademarked. So in a trip to California, Chris was in Carmel, and he felt the vibe that he was looking for. It's like, this is it. It called Terry. I got the name. It's Carmel Cafe.
Do they both live in Florida now?
Terry did move to Florida. He's originally from Camden, New Jersey. He's a
Local
Philadelphia
boy.
guy,
Yeah.
and he still maintains a residence here, and his two children live in the area. Chris is a Tampa guy.
Tampa, Florida?
Yes.
Yeah. The menu itself. Well, you brought a menu with you, and it's big, it's long. On one side,
And it's also
I want to get to that in a minute, because my own experience, I looked at the menu, interesting, and then it was sitting on the table. And the young lady motioned to that, and I'd forgotten what she said, but I said to her what I've said to you, I'm a technological idiot. I'm not sure I know what to do with that, and if I have this, why do I need that? So she said, fine, we'll order from the menu. I did not experience that. Please tell us more about that. That's called your menu pad.
it's called Menu Pad.
And you folks have developed the app. It's a proprietary app.
Correct. It's Menu Pad is a company that Chris Sullivan is
really?
the head of.
Okay.
Yes, and we are currently, as I understand it, the only group that's using this. So they've really been working on this to really make it, the execution be flawless, and it's been something. It's been a work in progress. So
you push the button.
it's on an iPad platform.
All right.
And I don't know if you want to go this way, but there's two ways you can navigate. Of course, going upside down, I won't do well. You can scroll back and forth.
All right. So that is this.
Is correct.
All the dishes on the menu.
Correct.
Or most of the dishes on the menu.
So as you look at signature shareables,
Right.
You're going to find signature shareables.
Okay. And can I tap one of those?
Go ahead, touch the Arancini, and you get a larger photo
Right.
with the description. Now, this particular one I have set up on view only
All right.
because we're not part of our network, and I can't give you all the functionality without being part of our network.
Okay. So the price on that is $5.99. And where can I get more information on the ingredients and so on?
Parmesan, Fontina, and Asiago cheeses.
Okay.
And with the
All right. Take me to the wine then.
Okay, our wine is set up by varietal. I don't do well upside down, I apologize. So for example, a Pinot Noir. These are our various Pinot Noirs. We have 5 selections by the glass, a couple nicer higher end selections by the bottle, and it's going to show your wine, and over here it's information. So for example, if you wanted to see more about the Joseph Drouin, and it'll give you a description. It'll also give you pairings. Once again, the functionality. These are dishes that would go well with that wine.
How many bottles do you have in your wine cellar?
We can hold about 1,400 when it's completely full.
I like that. Now that I'm seeing it, yes, it could be fun. Now, other than the food and wine, can I do anything else with that? Is there any social? Oh, I'm sorry. There was one other thing. I can also use this to let the wait staff know when I want my courses delivered. So if I'm sitting at a lunch, for example, and I don't want to be rushed, so rather than say I'm not in a hurry, or I can just somehow let them know by using this when I want my entree, when I want coffee or tea or whatever. I can control that.
Now, back to the Arancini.
Yes.
There would be a button here that says add. We would have to be on our network for that to appear, so this isn't
Okay.
set up that way. Up in the top corner would be like a view send. Anything you put add, it goes up into this box, view send. If you were ready to send your order, you could touch that, and it would show you everything that you put there. These are all the things that you ordered. When you were sure that's what you wanted, you would hit send, and it would send it to the kitchen. There's also a button right here that would be call server. So let's say, for example, you had a question. You could hit call server. It comes into the kitchen, and we can get your server right out to you.
That's not new. There are other devices that can do that.
There's paging devices, correct?
Yes, right. And so the message would go into the kitchen, not to the server.
Right. We don't have pagers, correct?
Okay. All right. Can this device? I think the answer is yes. But as you think it through and continue to build out, particularly using social media and your point of becoming more engaged with the community, can this be used to also include news about what's going on in Wayne, for example? The Carmel Club, which I saw featured on the website. Not quite sure what that is, but is the Carmel Club in here as well?
I'm not on a network right now.
Okay.
Club Carmel would be right here. It's not going to come up. We're not on a network.
Right.
But yes.
What is it?
Club Carmel it's kind of information about our company. You would get emails about different events that we might be having, wine dinners, special wine pairings or offerings. For example, we do wine and unwind Wednesdays, where we offer any wine that we sell by the glass. That bottle is half price from 5 to 9, and you would get updates on that. There's periodic emails that go out for a free flatbread, or maybe it's your birthday, it'll send you.
Yes.
But we recently started a loyalty rewards program. So you can accumulate points for dollars spent. When you accumulate 200 points, you would get a $20 reward. There's some companies that have this where you have to go to the website and print up a receipt and bring it.
Right.
The value is just on your card. When you come in, we swipe your card with your check, and we'll tell you this is what's available. What would you like to redeem?
Any tie-ins with your restaurants? I mean, we have a lot of snowbirds up here. So those who head south to Florida and they walk into a Carmel, will they have exactly the same experience and see pretty much the same menu? And can I use the points down there in any of those restaurants that I've accumulated here?
Yes, you can.
You can.
Yes. As far as the exact same experience, our wine list is a little different. Obviously, operating in Pennsylvania, there's just some different constrictions. But pretty much it's going to be the same.
Will you, sometime in the future, you mentioned the kitchen is relatively small, be offering cooking classes, things of that kind?
There might be some
on
times.
what Mod Mediterranean is?
I know that Jessica's chomping at the bit. She's looking forward to that opportunity. She does have experience getting out there and working with people. But we would like to maybe, let's say, for example, there was a charity group who was doing a fundraiser, and they wanted to have like a guest chef come in and maybe offer a class, and people could pay to go to that, and that money would go to the charity. These are certainly some things that we're interested in pursuing.
I noticed there's a video icon here. Is the intention to eventually have videos, or do you now have videos of how certain dishes are prepared?
There's another app that's called Fusion Prep, and it's not on this iPad, but we have one in the kitchen, and it's a training app. So for our employees, when they go to do a recipe, they go into the Fusion Prep, they select the item they're going to prep, and it gives them the exact ingredients, the steps of procedure. They have to log in. So when they're done, when they've completed the recipe, it'll print up a product information tag, shelf life, expiration date with their name, and there are also photos and corresponding preparation videos.
This is an interesting idea. And well, what's been the experience? What's been the reaction to it in the restaurant?
There's some folks that come in and love it, and you start to explain it, and they take it out of your hands, and they go. Other folks come in and say, I work with technology all day.
Sure.
I don't, and that's fine. And we have paper menus and we have traditional service. But once folks kind of get the feel for it, it allows you to control the pace of your meal. If some people come in and maybe they have a sitter for an hour and a half and they want to get in and out, it allows them to put that in right away. Other folks maybe don't want to be rushed. And they can take it and they can control the coursing so your server is not sending your food out too fast.
Do you have a fast track dish for lunch? Something, I don't know, 20 minutes or whatever, as some restaurants do?
Everything on our menu.
Or do you not want to encourage that kind of come in, wolf it down, and get out?
It's up to the guest. Our menu, as far as execution, as I mentioned before, a lot of the work is done on the prep. As far as actual assembly, cooking, to execute the dish, it's very quick, 6 to 8 minutes. If anything, it's not that our food takes too long, it's that it comes out too fast. And that's the nice piece of this, is you can And if you don't send it, it's not coming in. So if you send in your salad or your appetizer, for example, and you wait for that second course until you're ready. With our shareable items, our spreads and hummuses, you might have a group of ladies, for example, that are there having a glass of wine, and let's try a couple of hummuses or a couple of cheeses. And then they try it. Let's try a flatbread. You can kind of get it without having to wait for your server to come by and say, can I get you anything else?
Do you have spinach pies? I was looking at it.
We have a spinach dip. A spinach artichoke dip, 4 cheese, it's delicious.
But not spinach pies.
No.
You have to get those. They're really
I'm telling you, there's some things on the.
they're really good.
There's some things in our portfolio that we bring in, and they kind of go back and forth.
Doff, let's talk about you again and entrepreneurship. As I said at the top of the show, your business is tough. And I listed long hours, thin profit margins, so you've got to be making the right decisions every time, or you could have a really bad day, week, or month. And then the whole notion of bringing in staff and training them and trying and hoping they're going to stay and be loyal to you and to your customers so that those kinds of relationships can be established. All of that, a lot of variables, a lot of moving parts. Why would you do that? Your parents sent you to school to get a business degree. You could have been an accountant.
It's almost like you get sucked in.
Yeah.
There's a certain energy in the industry, and once you get into it, it's like a bug that you catch. And there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of excitement. It's different every day. You're on your feet, you're interacting with different people. When I first moved to New York to do Outback Steakhouse, I remember the night before I moved, I was thinking, I'm going to meet some new people, and it's going to be an interesting experience. And a lot of these folks, I watched them meet their spouse, have children, watch their children grow up, and it's just a very rewarding experience.
Is this the first time, though, that you owned a piece of the action?
No. I've done it with a couple
You have
other
owned
groups.
other restaurants?
Yes.
And is there, you own a piece of it, you've got a stake in it. Obviously, that provides even more motivation to work hard and to be successful.
It really goes back right to the core is if you want to make more money,
Yes.
you have to have more sales.
Yes.
If you want to have more sales, you need more guests.
Yes.
You have to take care of people. And if you take care of people, the business will take care of itself.
If you take care of the people, the business will. That's lesson one in any marketing or any business, or
Absolutely.
it should be anyway.
And as we talked about why going from Florida to Pennsylvania,
Yes.
because there were folks up here that were ready for this kind of opportunity that shared those same values.
Okay, so those who are interested can learn more by going to the website, which is www.carmelcafe.com.
Correct, or come in and talk to me anytime you like.
Or come in and talk. And what are the hours?
We open for lunch Monday through Friday, 11:30. We close at 10 Monday through Thursday, 11 on Friday. Saturday is 4 to 11, and Sunday is 4 to 9.
And are you there most of the time?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. Okay. Well, best of luck. I will come back. I've been promising to take my wife up so she can experience it as well. I'll be looking for the spinach pies, though.
Okay.
Thank you very much for being
Outstanding. Thank
here.
you very much.
Good luck. Until next time, this is the Entrepreneurs Network. I am Rick Anthony. Take very, very good care of yourself. Stop by Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar. I know you'll enjoy it.